you ahead of the 2020 elections. And today, it's an up close with Mr. Ntim Twumasi Kwaku, affectionately called NTK. He is the second vice chairman for the MPP for Ejisu Constituency, chief patron, Spiritan University and Rural Development College, and also a member of the regional MPP communications team. My name is Ajwa Afranoa Afrempo. Hello, Mr. Twumasi.
Yeah, hello.
You're welcome to Ghnewsnow.
Thank you.
And as a member of the NPP communications team, we know that this party has been in power for some time now, of which you've been able to achieve some campaign promises, and others are also a work in progress. But I'd like to ask, we know that the elections are fast approaching. What preparations are you making towards it?
Well, thank you very much. Well, as a party and a party in power, we are doing everything possible to ensure that we retain power come 2020. And so the government of the day is doing a whole lot of things, as per we giving Ghanaians what we promised them. A lot of projects and a lot of policies were promised before the 2016 elections. And Ghanaians voted for us based on our election manifesto. And so it is up to us as a political party to ensure that we deliver to Ghanaians what we have promised them. And that's what exactly the government of the day is doing. And there's a whole lot for you to look up to. We started off with the free SHS, which we promised as far back as 2008. We have the one district, one factory agenda. We have the one village, one dam agenda, and a whole lot of job promises and all that. So a lot is being done to ensure that the Ghanaians give us the mandate once more come 2020.
I like the fact that you mentioned that there's a whole lot of things you promised, of which you're still working on. But there's still the issue of unemployment out there. How do you intend tackling this, knowing that election is just around the corner? We are in the 8th month.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, unemployment has always been an issue for us as Ghanaians. And the NPP government came into power, promised that we create jobs for people. For the first time in the history of this country, 100,000 jobs were created in a day using the NAPCO policy. And then as we speak, since this government came into power, 611,000 jobs have been created. Majority of which came from the ministries, departments, and agencies. We created 6 new regions. We've created additional districts. Okay, so a lot of jobs have been created. Ministries, departments, and agencies have created over 393,000 jobs. The private sector has also provided over 290,000 jobs for now. And then there was this policy that has created about 1.5 million jobs. That is the planting for food and jobs policy, where our youth and the entire nation is being introduced into agriculture, which is intended to, give us food security. And also the government came in with planting for food and exports, where as we produce, we will also be exporting to neighboring countries. So a lot of jobs have been created in that area. So it's both formal and informal sector. A lot of jobs have been created since we came into being, and I think it's quite commendable.
Okay. Yeah. There's these huge figures of job creation.
Yeah.
Yes, and I don't know, but there's this thing about the ruling government.
Yeah.
They always have measures being put in place, but then it seems these measures are never effective. What could be going wrong?
Well, I don't know what you mean by never effective, but then it has been effective. Because
with this unemployment thing, yes, the jobs are being created, but still people are crying.
Yes, of course. As I said in the beginning, I said unemployment is everywhere. Even in the advanced countries, there are still people who are jobless. You get my point. Now, you only get a job when you apply for jobs, when you make an effort. Now, we can say that per the statistics, about 411,000 people applied for jobs and didn't get it. About 422,000 are still looking for jobs. Some have even given up looking for jobs anyway. So our unemployment rate stands around 7%, which to me is not that bad, but then there's still more room for improvement, as I always say. Because we have to do more to ensure that our youth get jobs. That's why we have this one factory agenda, which is gradually picking up. Factories are being built in the system to ensure that they recruit some of our youth. You get my point? So that they also get something to do. So if you're able to create at least one factory in each district, and each factory is employing, approximately 200 young people, you can multiply that by the 200, and right now we have over 217 districts, all right? So there's going to be a whole lot, but it's a gradual process. We can't change things overnight. It doesn't happen that way. You need to put things in place, roll out the policy, and then, for technocrats to also implement those policies to ensure that it gets to the grassroots. And that is exactly what we are doing. So it's a gradual process. We've been in power for barely 2.5 years, 2.5, maybe 2 years, 8 months. Sometimes people make the mistake of comparing us to, a government that has been in power for 8 years. It doesn't work that way. It takes, gradual process to ensure that we do whatever we have promised Ghana. And so far, every single promise that we gave in our manifesto, the government has touched on it. It's either being implemented or we are in the process of, doing so. So we still have a year and some months to go. And I believe that a lot can be done within that time frame.
We are hoping that within that time frame, you can achieve a lot as you promised Ghanaians.
Yeah, sure.
Now let's come to the talk of the day,
yeah.
PDS scandal. This phrase has become the topic of the season.
Yeah.
What can you say about this brouhaha surrounding this issue? Well,
basically, PDS, under the Millennium Development Authority, Kufuor came up, ex-President Kufuor came up with this. We went to the US to solicit for funds, and every year we do. And then the previous government, Bahama-led government, went to the US. I think the figure is around 500 million, something like that. And then the intention was to invest it into the energy sector. Now, we know that ECG managing, distribution of power and the collection of revenues pertaining to power consumption has been incurring losses almost every year. Almost every year, ECG records losses. So the American authorities decided that, look, if we want to invest that money into that sector, then you need somebody private to come and take over ECG. So that then we can go ahead and give you the money. So we had time frames, to meet. And then when we came into power, NDC had already negotiated for a takeover. It was initially an 80-20%. 80% to the US or a foreign company or a private company, and then 20% to Ghanaians. And so we came in and said no. We did a renegotiation, and then it came to, I think, 51 for Ghanaians and then 49 for the foreigners. And several companies came in with their, they bidded for the contracts to take over ECG, and then we settled on PDS. Okay. Well, per the contract, they were supposed to give us some sureties, insurance covers, because ECG is estimated to worth around 22 billion Ghana cedis. So that's a whole lot of money. So you need, if a company is taking over, that company needs to be secured financially. And so that's what we did. And then per the contract terms, they were supposed to give this insurance. But then, as they started running, everything was signed. But as they started running, government detected that, look, the signatories to the insurance policy is not the authorized person. So we realized that, look, if that is the case, then we need to suspend the whole contract, because the contract is supposed to end, to run till September 4th, where the final terms will be agreed on. So it's like a contract in progress, though they are working. But then the government gave it up ample time to ensure that they do more due diligence, because we had to meet a deadline in order to get the money into our accounts. So in the course of doing this due diligence or whatever, we came across that certain anomalies, that this signature, this person who signed, is not supposed to be the one to sign. Okay. So we decided, look, we need to halt everything and then do further investigation to ensure that Ghanaians get the right thing. This is a government that is not ready to hide anything from Ghanaians. We did the contract. We could have swept everything under the carpet, as previous governments have done. You get my point? The whole thing could have been done silently. But the government decided, look, we need to search for what I've done. Well, it may be a mistake on our part, but then we still want Ghanaians to know the details of the contract and everything. And that is why we came out with it, to say that, look, let's suspend it. We are suspecting some fraud, so let's suspend the whole contract, and then let's give ourselves about 30 days to look into it, to ensure that our suspicions are not, are correct, either correct or wrong. And then we can continue with it. If it's wrong, we continue with the contract. If it's correct that maybe, our suspicions are, right, then we can suspend the entire contract. We can't go straight ahead and suspend the contract in order not to incur something like deadment debts and all that, debts and other things. So we had to suspend it for now and then look into it to ensure that the right thing is done. So this whole PDS saga, whatever, is Ghanaians have not been taken for a ride. Nobody has lost anything.
Okay.
Monies collected by PDS are still safe. That's why, ECG came along to say that, look, we are taking over, but then we want to run alongside PDS to ensure that monies are, used, because signatures and other things have been transferred in the name of PDS accounts and other things. So ECG cannot go into a PDS account. So they need to be around them to ensure that workers are paid on time, funds are released to ensure that we don't get the doomso thing back. Can't get him.
Right,
yeah.
PDS didn't come to eliminate ECG.
Well, not necessarily, but they took a certain aspect. That is the management aspect. You get my point. With regards to revenue collection. You get, okay, because GCG had challenges when it comes to revenue collection. So PDS took that aspect of the managerial aspect of it. So nobody lost his or her job after the takeover, remember. So it's like the same stuff, but then it's just that the management aspect of it that was handed over to PDS to manage it. So, yes, so facility-wise, infrastructure-wise, everything, because whatever, still the same thing, Nothing changed, nobody lost his or her job.
NTK, still on the PDS scandal.
Yeah.
There's this video out there going viral. I don't know if you've seen it yet. But they are alleging that Akufo-Addo and some of his ministers are behind PDS alongside other individual business tycoons.
Well, I will say that it's just a political propaganda that the opposition is putting out there. There's nothing, none of these guys whose names are mentioned are related to the president or whether the president has a hand in it. The president has nothing. Look, let's put it on record. If I have a hand in a deal like that, I'm the president, I have a hand in a deal like that, and something goes foul, you think I'll bring it out? I could have just, the president could have just said, look, people have been silent on the whole matter. Corrections can be done silently. You get my point?
That video hasn't been certified yet. It's still an investigation in progress that somebody is doing.
That is why I'm saying that, look, assuming without admitting that the video, whatever is being projected in that video is right, and I'm the president, I have a hand behind such a deal. You get my point? And I detect that there's an anomaly, there's a mistake somewhere. Do you think it would be wise for me to bring it out to the knowledge of the public?
No.
Yes, I would just sweep it under the carpet. Besides, I could have done all those corrections behind the scenes.
But that
Ghanaians wouldn't have gotten to know anything.
That video is to bring out what you are trying to hide.
Look, it's just a political propaganda. It's just one of those things. Look, some people are desperate to get the power.
Okay.
You get my point? So you should expect some of these things out there. Just to tarnish the image of the ruling government. Just to, brush aside the good things that this government is doing. The fantastic policies. Look, not long ago, ex-President Mahama came out to say that now he supports the free exchange policy. A policy that he had, lambasted, he had, chastised since its inception. Now he comes out to say that, look, I now support the free exchange policy. Why do you think that is?
He also said that it is stated in the 1992 Constitution.
Well, of course, he knew that. So why was it not the policy not rolled out during his tenure?
He also stated that the nation hasn't gotten to that level.
So now the nation is at that level now.
He's still saying
look, it takes bold people to make decisions. When the NPP came into power, this is something we had drummed in since 2008. I told you that. Yeah. Now, when we came in, we decided that, look, it is time now. Because by the Constitution, it says subject to the availability of resources. Now, Ghana, we had oil like how many years ago? Close to like 12 years ago, during the end of President Kufuor's tenure. Yeah. Oil money, where does it go to? It goes into people's pockets. President comes in and says, look, instead of people misusing these funds, let's invest these funds into the education of our kids at the secondary school level.
School and the trees.
Look,
studying on
do we have look, in as much as we want every educational sector, if you want to start a school, few people have put up extravagant buildings and then roll out your school. Very good. Now, education can be imparted into you even under a tree. You know that. But it's knowledge. Yes. Whilst you construct. You get my point? Yeah. So the president said, let's roll out the policy whilst we expand the existing schools. And as I speak to you now, there's massive infrastructure work going on in almost every secondary school in this country. Okay. Dormitories, classroom blocks, administrative blocks, to expand, to accommodate. Okay, people, the JHS graduates. Yeah. Okay, so we need to be bold in taking certain decisions. Otherwise, NDC preached that free SHS can only be achieved in 20 years' time. Now you ask yourself that if averagely 90,000 kids, JHS graduates, are unable to go to school, multiply that by that 20 years, and you are getting around 1.8 million school dropouts. Now the worst thing is when you graduate from JHS, you are neither, I don't know whether to call you illiterate or literate. But at that point, your certificate is good for nothing. You get my point? So why don't you get the child through to the secondary school level where he or she can even decide that, look, I've turned 18, maybe 20, let me go and look out for a job. Anytime I want to continue to the tertiary level, I just pick up my certificate and advance. You get my point? So that is what we want to do. Look, we should ensure that our kids are educated. Education is the key now. To every development country or whatever, education is now the key. So let us be committed to it. Now Ghanaians have bought into the policy and they have understood the policy. And now you see the opposition are now trying to bring themselves in, thinking that we are, they were the ones, we are the ones who did this, we are the ones. Look, you stood on a platform and said it was unwise. Unwise. On a platform, you said it's unwise to invest huge sums of money into the free SHS policy at the expense of others. And the president said that regardless, we are going to invest in there because education, if you think education is expensive, try ignorance. It's more expensive than education. So let's put money in there and be committed to it. We need that political will. And that is what is happening. And very soon, whatever problems associated with the policy will be solved. Every policy has its own challenges. Trust me, every single policy that you roll out, there will be challenges. But then it is up to you to stand firm and sort out all these problems so that the policy becomes accepted. NDC worked out on NHIS when the policy was being debated in Parliament. They worked out. Now NHIS has come to stay. You get my point? There are so many, whatever policy we roll out, every social intervention policy that we roll out, NDC challenges it. But at the end of the day, Ghanaians come to understand it and they come to accept it. And then later, this same NDC, I don't know whether to call them a bunch of hypocrites or whatever, but then they turn around and try to start the policy out of our hands, thinking that, we started it, we piloted, you did what? You did nothing. Okay, somebody has come to the scene, initiated a policy. The policy is now being rolled out. People are accepting the policy. Let the policy run. They are talking about review. What are you going to review? Will you review either to suspend it, either to eliminate or to add? So which one of them are you going to go for? So Ghanaians shouldn't trust these people. We know when they talk about review, they came to power, they suspended or they cancelled teacher and nursing training allowances. They did, all right? Mm-hmm. They promised one-time premium. Could they deliver? They did not deliver. There are so many promises that they gave that they couldn't deliver. Okay. This is a promise-keeping government. A government that comes into power and decides to keep to every promise, one after the other, where you may have your own concerns, you may have challenges. But the most important thing is the policy is rolled out and Ghanaians benefit from it. And this is one policy that everybody, both the rich and the poor, are benefiting from. And I think we should commend the government for that.
You're still watching Ghnewsnow. And it's an exclusive interview with Mr. Ntim Twumasi Kwaku, affectionately called NTK, ahead of the 2020 elections. Mr. Twumasi, hello. You talked about keeping promises.
Yeah.
One district, one factory.
Yeah.
One village, one dam.
Yeah.
Construction of roads.
Yeah.
With this and many other stillborn promises,
yeah.
How confident are you in winning election 2020?
Well, as I said, we cannot change things overnight. Okay. Well, Ghanaians have given us a 4-year mandate. Within that 4 years, we promised to deliver these policies. Now, one village, one dam is ongoing now. A lot of these dams have been constructed. It's under the Presidential Special Initiative. You get my point? And so we promised the people up north these dams to help them in their farming, because we know that when it gets to the Harmattan season, the crops and other things seems to wither. So we decided that why don't we create these dams to store water so that during these seasons, these farmers up north can use it, And don't forget the past administration planted trees up north in the Harmattan season, and everything dried off. So it will be wise for us to create these dams before we do planting.
Okay.
You get my point? And then we have also initiated this railing for food and jobs up north and the rest of the country to teach them how to rail, do what we call whether poultry or animal husbandry or whatever. Okay? Because we also remember that the past government, the NDC government, invested in the railing of guinea fowls up north, and they flew to Burkina Faso. That's what we were told. After investing over 150 million of the taxpayers' money into that venture, we were told that these guinea fowls flew off to Burkina Faso. I don't know when they are going to return anyway. So we want to do it better. Okay. That's why the president launched the railing for food and jobs up north. So coupled with this one village, one dam, it means that we want to strengthen agriculture. Remember, the previous government, agriculture dropped to negative. It dropped percentage-wise to negative. Now we want to build it back because it's the backbone of our society. Ghana has fertile lands. We got everything that we need. There's no way we should go hungry. But unfortunately, there have been policies rolled out, and this implementation have not been done well. And so it's like in the abundance of water, the fool is always thirsty. So this is what we want to correct, so that we can always produce and feed others with it. You get my point? So that's what the government is doing now. So all these promises will be delivered. The one village, one dam is ongoing. The one factory is ongoing. Not long ago, the vice president commissioned the biggest fertilizer producing factory in this country. You get my point? Yes, there's one ongoing even here within our Ejisu. There's one along the KwakuE road. Okay, they are going to process grains. The factory is ready. Machines have been installed. Production will kick off very soon. So it's ongoing in almost every district, every municipality. It's a gradual process. We cannot spring up 350 factories in a day. It doesn't happen that way. To build a factory, you need to go through certain process: land acquisition, availability of raw materials, availability of transport, everything. In the location of it, as a simple elementary economics, location of an industry, you need to consider so many factors. That is why we want to strengthen the power sector as well, so that there will be constant supply of power to generate in the energy for these factories to operate fully at full capacity. So there's a whole lot of things going on at the moment. And I know Ghanaians will look up to that and give NPP another opportunity to continue the good policies. Because I don't know what the NDC will come and do. I don't know what they are going to promise. They simply have no message. It is going to be them hammering on our policies. So they will come and tell you that we will come and review free SHS and make it better. We will come and review one village, one dam and make it better. We will come and review one factory and make it better. Look, if you think you can make things better, the one who initiated it, he can do it better than you. He has the brain. He gave birth to those policies. Okay. So I think Ghanaians will rather trust NPP to make things better than giving it back to the NDC, because we know what they can do. You give them Ghana, they will take you back to the hands of IMF, where your youth will not be employed, because IMF will give you conditionalities: do not employ people in the formal sector, do not do this, do not do that, because simply you cannot take good care of your own economy. So you need to go back for policy credibility from the IMF. That is what this government has been able to take us from. This government, within 2 years, we were able to win ourselves or exit the IMF conditionalities, IMF policy. And now we are moving into higher gears. We own ourselves now. So now we can decide what to do with our money. You get my point? Yeah. So that is exactly what we are trying to do. We will build this country to the level that Ghanaians want it to be. But it is not going to be overnight. We all need to take the bitter pill sometimes, just to ensure that we get healed in the next 3 days or years. So let us all ensure that we commit ourselves to the government, support the government policies. Whatever the government is rolling out is geared towards making Ghana a better country. We want to go into production, so that we can also produce and export, so that our city can be stronger than now. It is now. because now we do less exports. So mostly whatever we generate is what we import. So we want to go into production. That is why we have the one factory agenda, so that we produce and export to neighboring countries, so that we also get foreign exchange, so that our city can stand the US dollar. So there's a whole lot, but we need Ghanaians to support us, to be patient and support us, so that we can be able to deliver to them what we have promised them.